My sister, Jennifer, is a horrible person. My sister divorced her first husband, Wayne, to marry her second husband, Lance. Lance is also an awful person. Lance said he didn't want to raise Wayne and Jennifer's daughter, Andrea, and he only cared about having biological children. Jennifer gave full custody to Wayne because Lance was more important to her than Andrea. No one in the family has spoken to Jennifer since. Andrea was 3 when Jennifer left her for Lance. Andrea just started 5th grade and is being raised by Wayne and his wife, Emily. Andrea knows Emily is not her biological mother, but my niece says Emily is her real mom anyway, and she doesn't care to know who her birth mom is. We have a great child therapist ready if Andrea ever needs her, but Andrea says she has not needed it yet. Andrea's birthday was 2 weeks ago. We went to Build-A-Bear, and I bought her a bear with several accessories. I also got her a Mickey Mouse waffle maker. Andrea was so happy that she was smiling the entire day. Wayne and Emily posted pictures of Andrea on the family website eating Mickey Mouse waffles, saying they were delicious, courtesy of myself. I blocked Jennifer on all social media. It was a friend who got a message from Jennifer that was meant to go to me. Jennifer explained in the message that my nephews, Colton and Ryder, were starting school soon, and she and Lance were struggling to afford school supplies. And because I was buying fancy gifts for Andrea, I could surely spare $100 to cover both Colton and Ryder's school supplies. I didn't even know how Jennifer found those pictures, because the family website is supposed to be password protected. I responded to Jennifer that I would not be sending a dime to her or Lance. She abandoned Andrea for some guy. She doesn't get to come back to the family she abandoned now that she needs a favor. And besides, she and Lance are grown-ups, and if they can't afford things, then it's not my problem. Jennifer told me how awful of an uncle I was, and kept trying to get me to call her, but I had my friend block her, and that was over. Several people, like my coworker, are saying that I should be the bigger person for Ryder and Colton, because they're innocent in this, and it's unfair they go without school supplies because their parents can't afford them. They said I could donate the school supplies directly, so I wouldn't have to worry about Jennifer or Lance spending the money poorly. I have no relationship with my nephews, and people are saying this is a great opportunity to become involved in their lives and be a positive role model where Jennifer and Lance may be failing them. I get it's not fair to Ryder and Colton, but it's ridiculous for me to subsidize their schooling expenses while having no physical or emotional role in their life. Besides, if Jennifer and Lance genuinely can't afford school supplies, there are programs to help them. Not the a-hole. The issue with helping your nephews this way is that it opens the door for your sister to demand more and more. Keep spoiling your niece. She is lucky to have people who love her. Not the a-hole. Lance thinks it's an unreasonable burden to care for a child who isn't biologically his. So, there you go. You're lessening the burden on Emily for raising a child that isn't hers. Not the a-hole. Any of the people who are trying to guilt you into giving Jennifer money are free to donate their own money if they are so concerned. Jennifer made her bed, as it were, and now she gets to lie in it. Not the a-hole. It was her choice to abandon her daughter for a man, but I honestly think it was for the best. She is no prize, and the person she married certainly isn't. Keep supporting your niece. She made her bed, and if she's that broke, maybe she and her husband should both work. Not your problem. It's your money, and your right to spend it how you like. My best friend since grade school is married to my sister. We've been really close friends forever, and obviously I'm so excited that he had been officially a part of our family since he and my sister were married a few years ago. My sister and I have not always been close, but the last few years we've gotten a lot closer. She and her husband went through reproductive challenges, and they sought assistance in this department with medical specialists. They chose to go the route of anonymous sperm donor after much counseling and testing. It took another year before she finally became pregnant. I was asked to be the child's godparent. I was thrilled. Last week, my sister came to me and confided in me something that I wish I hadn't been told. My sister confided in me that the pregnancy wasn't from the clinic sperm donor, but it was the result of a very foolish one-night stand with a total stranger. She said the emotional stress of going through artificial insemination and not seeing results might have affected her judgment. The cheating thing was an issue for both of them. Both had been unfaithful to each other during their marriage, during a very difficult period of reproductive challenges. From what I know, he slipped once while traveling on business, and she slipped once while traveling on business, presumably with the biological father of her child. They never got into the specifics with each other, because they both acknowledged knowing the specifics would be too painful, but have worked it out in the last few months through marriage and family counseling. I think they both wanted to move forward as her pregnancy progressed, and they are looking forward to being a family. So that helped, and they already forgave each other. My sister wanted me to know this about her child in case, for whatever catastrophic reason, someone besides her needed to know the true parentage of the child for medical reasons. But she also made me promise never to tell a soul. She's determined to keep this a secret, but I feel kind of trapped. On the one hand, this is her secret to tell. Plus, my friend, her husband, knows the child is not biologically his, so it really shouldn't matter. And they have forgiven each other for past indiscretions. On the other hand, it just feels not right that he doesn't know this about the child. So would I be the a-hole if I kept my mouth shut? Dude, this is a super tough choice. Clearly you take it seriously, which is good. I think part of your answer would be to go to the family counselor with just you and sister. She's been to counseling, so she may be open to it. It sounds like you need her to hear how trapped between the two loyalties you feel. As I read your post, I felt 4 to 5 different emotions on your behalf. If you went to the counselor, as a mediator, with sis, you could get all of the emotions expressed. Maybe write them down beforehand. I imagine she has a few thoughts to share with you and trust you with too. You deserve to be heard and hear her. I suggest doing this soon so you're ready to be open to how you feel about the new little human. Remember, the little human is innocent of everything here and deserves unconditional and unbound love. Not the a-hole if you don't tell him. Yes, the a-hole if you do. This is a rough one. I think some of the other commenters are correct. The cheating issue is resolved. But think about it from this perspective. Your brother-in-law knows his wife is cheated. He knows when the baby is due and can get a pretty close idea, therefore, of when the conception occurred. He can do the math. I guarantee you he has already considered the idea that this baby might be the result of the flame. And he has made the decision to move forward with this family. I think if you discussed it with him, you would be just tearing up old wounds. I get why you think it's something he needs to know, but this is already something he's made peace with. You would be the a-hole if you don't insist she tell him, and that you will if she won't. He agreed to financially support and raise a child from an anonymous but vetted donor. He did not agree to financially support and raise a child who is the product of his wife's affair with a stranger, about whom they have no genetic or medical history. He has the right to make an informed decision about raising this child. Edited to add. Also, it looks like, when she cheated, she had unprotected S with the guy. Your friend at least deserves to know that he should get tested. I've been involved with a man for several months who is undergoing a divorce. The involvement is purely physical, and we are dating. Out of nowhere, his soon-to-be ex-wife contacted me last week and wanted to chat. She wanted a face-to-face meeting to ask me questions last week. I asked my friend over the weekend whether it would be okay for me to meet with her. He gave me the blessing since the papers have already been filed with the court, and they're just waiting for the judge to sign off. He just asked me to be honest. There was nothing further her attorney could do to get out of the terms of the prenup, because it was pretty thorough, and her attorney advised her to accept the terms and proceed with an uncontested divorce to save her the financial burden of a legal battle that has almost no chance of succeeding. She rightly accepted her counselor's advice. So today I met her for coffee in a very public space. She wanted to know when I started seeing my friend romantically, and I told her. She wanted to know if it was anything she did that changed their relationship. I told her I didn't know the full extent of their problems, so I couldn't answer that question. What I did know was that he no longer found her attractive after she gave birth to their second child. He found himself no longer romantically compatible with her. I told her if it wasn't me, he would have found someone else. She wanted the truth, so I told her. She started sobbing and accusing me of being callous. I reminded her that she wanted honest answers, and I gave her the answers. My friend had already told her exactly the same thing when he served her the divorce papers months ago. I'm not sure what she was hoping to gain by asking the same questions of me. Frankly, I think getting out of this marriage is the best thing to happen to her, because she shouldn't be under the illusion that she could somehow save this marriage. She needs the Band-Aid ripped off so she can move on with her life. Obviously, I didn't tell her this because she didn't ask me this, and I'm not her therapist. I paid for her coffee and I left. I didn't want to be seen with a sobbing woman at the cafe, and she probably could have benefited from some time alone to compose herself. I honestly don't understand why she would seek out a meeting with me and ask me for honest answers if she isn't prepared to hear them. I just don't see myself as either an a-hole or as being callous here, especially when she asked for this. Edit. Someone suggested I add in this from info. The youngest child is 2 to 3. This dissatisfaction occurred over years, culminating in my friend moving into his own downtown condo shortly before he served his soon-to-be ex-wife the divorce papers. Info. Do you think calling him your friend makes you less of a homewrecker? If it wasn't me, it would have been someone else. But it wasn't someone else. It was you. Actually, no info needed. Yes, the a-hole for agreeing to meet her. Not your place, and you made it worse for her. Next time you break up a marriage, do everyone a solid and don't talk to the wife. Yes, the a-hole, and also dumb. You're sleeping with a man who, as far as I can tell from your description of his interaction with his ex-wife, uses women and then discards them. I also can't help but feel like you're defending that behavior. Maybe you think you're too pretty for that to happen to you. I don't know really why you're asking this question, because at the end of your post, you're already quite confident that you're neither the a-hole or callous. Except, yes, the a-hole and callous. You didn't need to meet with her. While it's all nice and lovely that you got the approval from your friend to meet, it simply wasn't your place to deliver this feedback to her. You act like you were doing her a favor, and that it's some blessing she's no longer stuck in this marriage. Yet, you didn't want to be seen with a sobbing woman, and ran away as quickly as you could to allow this woman some alone time to compose herself. After giving her details and hurtful feedback, after she already had to experience the heartache that comes with losing someone she loved, the parent of her 2 children, and watch your marriage fall apart. Oh, I'm sure she deserved it though, since she asked to meet with you. That's some audacity. I'm 17 female, and my sister is 15 female. Sometimes she'll ask me to drive her places. If I'm not busy, I usually don't mind. Last night I was trying to do homework when she came in and asked me for a ride to her boyfriend's house. I told her I couldn't because I needed to study, and she said it was an emergency, and she needed to go right that minute. She was super upset, so I believed her that it was an emergency, and dropped what I was doing to drive her. She was on her phone the whole drive, about 20 minutes, and wouldn't tell me what was going on. It turned out that the emergency was that her boyfriend had some other girl over there, and the 3 of them got into a screaming match on his front porch. I kept hawking and telling my sister to stop yelling and get back in the car, and she kept ignoring me. Finally, I told her to get in the car right now, or I was going to leave. She still ignored me, and kept arguing with her boyfriend and the other girl. So, I left. She called me and texted me a couple of times, and I didn't pick up or text back. I was really annoyed that she pulled me away from doing homework for something so stupid. My sister ended up having to call our parents to come get her from the boyfriend's house, which she says was humiliating. Plus, she's in trouble because the boyfriend's parents complained to our parents about her making a scene in front of all of their neighbors, which they probably wouldn't have bothered doing if my parents hadn't been there. My sister is mad at me for letting her down and being a bad sister, and I'm mad at her for being selfish and immature. But when our parents got my side of the story of what happened, they also said I was wrong for leaving my sister on her own because the situation could have escalated and she'd have had no way to safely leave. So, am I the a-hole for driving away? Not the a-hole. She made her bed, then she didn't want to lay in it. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Lesson to learn. A 15-year-old never has the kind of emergencies that need you to leave what you're doing like that. Ever. If someone else is threatening S, or says they have done something, then you call 911. You don't haul both of you out there. It is never that urgent. Everyone sucks here. Your sister is the a-hole for dragging you into it for sure. But leaving a 15-year-old without a way to get home, particularly during an altercation, is just dangerous. You should have called your parents before you ditched your sister. I agree that OP's sister's an a-hole for making an emergency out of a non-emergency situation, and not being upfront about it when she demanded a ride. However, OP was indeed an a-hole for leaving your sister in the middle of a conflict. OP should have 1. Called her parents. 2. Made sure that either her parents were going to call the boyfriend's parents to ask them to keep an eye on sister, or hung out until the parents got there. 3. Only left the house when either boyfriend's parents or OP's parents were willing to take responsibility for the safety of OP's sister. The unfortunate reality of being an older sibling is that sometimes you're the designated adult in the situation, because your parents trust you to be responsible for your siblings on automobile adventures. You don't get to just abandon them somewhere when they piss you off. Not the a-hole. You aren't her parent. You have your own responsibilities. Your sister selfishly manipulated you into bringing her for such a trivial reason, and if she had just listened to you and left, then things would have been better for her. She wouldn't be embarrassed, and the situation wouldn't have escalated. Go do your homework and focus on school, sis. You are solid.